Over the past few months, the world has been rocked by seemingly endless doping scandals in the sport of athletics. We had the various athletes from Kenya busted over the past year, we had the infamous case of Divine Oduduru from Nigeria, and most recently we saw Zane Robertson come forward with his EPO admission. But over the past few days, we got word of something quite unique when it comes to steroid and performance-enhancing drug situations. And this one is by far the most frustrating and confusing of them all. So, hailing from Australia, the middle distance runner Peter Bol has appeared to be on a fast track to athletics greatness recently. He won the silver medal in last year's Commonwealth Games in the 800, he placed fourth in the Olympic finals in the 800 in 2021, and his personal records include a 1 minute and 44-second flat 2-lap race and a 3:35 for the 1500 meters. It goes without saying, but Bol is a very talented 2-lap runner. However, in January of 2023, he was announced to have failed an out-of-competition test showing positive results for EPO. Now, EPO is probably the world's most famous performance-enhancing drug, at least when it comes to endurance endeavors. It was Lance Armstrong's drug of choice back in the day. It's been used endlessly by cyclists around the world. However, this drug doesn't just stay in the world of bicycles. It is also heavily utilized in distance running, as well as other sports as well. But back in January, the news was officially released against Peter Bol for EPO. Now, for context, this kind of news is almost instantly an international reputation killer. Sponsorships drop like flies, people turn on you, you get very confused about the matter, and the crazy part is that nobody really knows the truth other than yourself. And this is exactly why this situation in particular was so maddening. Because just recently, I'm talking the past few weeks, it was unveiled that not one, but 2 other testing laboratories have now confirmed that Peter Bol never should have been found positive for EPO findings, stating poor testing practices from the original facility, showcasing no evidence for a positive result. Imagine being Peter Bol in this moment. For the past month or two, you have been viewed as an international disgrace in your sport, and you actually did not do anything wrong at all. This would be one of the most frustrating and difficult circumstances to survive because you're sitting there seeing the world basically turn on you, and you're probably getting endless hate, and you literally did nothing. This is just so weird and so confusing. So what exactly happened in the original test that made this sample come back positive when in fact it was negative? So it turns out that these poor testing practices involve the following, and bear with me here, this is a little detailed in laboratory jargon, but it does showcase something very important. So number 1, Bol's sample was overloaded, which led to an incorrect interpretation of the gel patterns. Number 2, the lab failed to understand that Bol's symmetric band indicated the presence of natural EPO only, and not a mixed band that contained both EPO and synthetic EPO. Number 3, the lab incorrectly overlooked the very strong UEPO intensity in Bol's sample, which indicated no REPO at all. Number 4, the lab used poor quality reference material, which contributed to the false positive reading for REPO. Number 5, the lab wrongly concluded that the band apex line ERA in the sample coincided with the corresponding apex line in the EPO8 reference preparation. Number 6, the rerun of the sample was wrongly interpreted since the data indicated strongly that there was no REPO in the sample. And lastly, number 7, the lab's failure to use the IEF method was a lost chance to confirm the absence of REPO in the sample. I don't know if you guys are familiar with lab jargon at all, because I'm not too familiar with it, but this really seems like an academic education slam. This is really dense material at the end of the day, but I feel like this is one lab's way of saying, yeah, the athletics integrity unit here kind of messed up. We've seen a lot of weird situations when it comes to testing like this, but they rarely, if ever, have this kind of academic follow-through when it comes to showcasing that they are innocent. But my goodness, Peter Bol actually was innocent. And honestly, one of the most interesting and quite funny situations was a news report that came out from Australia, and you had the 2 co-hosts here showcasing a lot of frustration. Just listen to what this guy had to say when it came to Peter Bol's supposed failed drug test.
This whole episode is not befitting, I don't reckon, of the organisation that's paid for by us, the taxpayers. Appreciate your time.
It honestly makes sense that this guy right here is so frustrated because this is a federal funded facility. Your tax dollars goes into something like this being foundationally sound, and yet they pretty much botched it. All over the internet right now is a lot of criticism going to this Australian testing facility, and they're calling it a blunder of epic proportions. There are a lot of very interesting reading material when it comes to this huge screw-up, and I will make sure to leave a link to a handful of those articles down below. But for now, this is absolutely one of the weirdest and most bizarre situations, and you gotta give it to Peter Boal. He actually has handled himself very well, and this kind of vindication, I think, is well-deserved. You've got his lawyer from New York echoing these sentiments, you've got various articles and news sources from around the world criticizing this Australian testing facility, and when reached out to for an interview, they not only declined, but they defended their position, which is just super problematic. If you make a mistake, you just need to own up to that mistake. It's as simple as that, especially when you have foundationally proven negative results from other lab facilities. Now, granted, I did not go in and actually run the test myself, but that's where Peter Boal's agent comes in handy. Apparently, he sat in there for 22 hours and watched them actually run this sample correctly. There has been a lot of thorough investigation when it comes to this exact situation, but it really does seem as though Peter Boal is completely innocent, and this is honestly scary. Imagine having your name dragged through the mud for months and you didn't do anything wrong. This is just sad. Anyways, I just wanted to update you on this pretty wacky and wild situation, and I'm happy for Peter Boal, and I hope that he can continue to run very well over the next few seasons. And now I would love to hear from you all on the matter. What are your thoughts surrounding Peter Boal? What are your thoughts on this Australian testing facility? And make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, until next time.